Hey everyone, this is Bennett, your fantasy football commish, with the final regular season weekly recap of the ForrestLand MishMash Fantasy Football League. It was week 14, and the playoff hopefuls all took care of business, and the playoffs are set. So we have three out of last year's four playoff teams returning, and technically, I guess you could say all four teams returning, with the Virginia Vikings out of the league, and newcomer the CT Calvinators taking their place and making the playoffs. So it's going to be an all-Forest playoff this year, and we'll talk about the upcoming playoff scenarios in just a minute. But let's talk about how we got here. First of all, you got beat by a girl, losing only their second game of the year, but it was irrelevant as they already had the number one seed clinched. The only thing really significant there is that she's had two mediocre weeks in a row, and that could be meaning that she's primed for an upset. Aaron Rodgers only with 13 points. RG3 got hurt, 17 points. So not a bad day at 128, but definitely not the high 100s that we've seen. Third and long, last year's runner-up and 2 years ago's champion, finishes a very disappointing season at 4-10. Although she can now say that she beat one of the only two teams to beat. You got beat by a girl. Congratulations to Doreen for winning on the final game of the season. I know it's a disappointing season, but I'm sure you'll be back strong next week. And again, you got beat by a girl already clinched the number one seed in the playoffs. Whoops! I closed the screen. Let's see. Let me open this up. I hope you guys are liking the new format. This one, you don't even have to look at my face at all, much less small in the corner of the screen or through the full screen. So hope you like this new screenshot version. Much better visualizations. And of course, again, you don't have to look at my face the whole blog, which I'm sure is thrilling. Other games, of course, the teams that needed to win to control their own destiny were the Slim Aussies and the Spring Street Stallions. Both teams won. Let's look at the Stallions game here. Pretty good day on Thursday. Started off pretty good Thursday night for the Stallions with Peyton Manning and Carson Palmer dueling quarterback in the Thursday night game. In spite of the Houston Texans getting crushed, did get 17 points from Arian Foster last night. Big points from Denario Alexander, 27. Don't even know if I know who that is, although the name sounds familiar. So didn't do anything. Let's see. Must have been hurt or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through week 7. But since week 9 has really put up some good numbers. So good pickup for the Stallions. 2 touchdowns and 88 yards from Denario Alexander. So 151 points for the Stallions. They clinched the third seed in the playoffs. Oceanside Lionesses had a very respectable first season in the league, finishing at 7-7, but just too inconsistent. A lot of low point weeks, just a little inconsistent throughout the whole season. Thus, the 7-7 record. Sorry, going crazy with my screen here. Obviously, 1 point from Larry Fitzgerald in that disgusting game from Arizona. Getting crushed by Seattle. Roddy White did okay, but just nothing special from the entire team. Nothing special from the bench either. So the Stallions take care of business. They finish 9-5, and they are going to be the third seed in the playoffs. Let's look at the other game of note, which was the Real Slim Aussies really making a statement. Second highest point total of the week, defeating, essentially knocking Ray Finkel Kicking Academy out of the playoffs. Ray Finkel falls to 7-7. Again, good, just like the Lionesses, had a really good season, but just too inconsistent. Obviously, Drew Brees only getting 16 points. He was hot all year and just crashed and burned the last 2 weeks. Of course, no points from Robert Meacham or Brandon Pettigrew didn't help. I remember I was watching the Sunday night game, and the sideline reporter, who was it? What's her face? Michelle Tafoya was saying how Brandon Pettigrew was supposed to play but got hurt in warm-up or something. So he got a big goose egg Sunday night, which obviously didn't help the Finkel Kicking Academy. Meanwhile, Calvin Johnson had his typical good night, not spectacular, but 22 points. Marshawn Lynch luckily did all his damage on 11 carries because obviously with the blowout against Arizona, he was done. But he got 31 points, made the most of his 11 carries, 128 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Lynch looking good against the Cardinals. Not too much from the quarterbacks, Andrew Luck and Andy Dalton, but Brandon Marshall, as the whole year, basically the wide receivers carrying the Slim Aussies. Not much other than Lynch from running backs most of the year. Decent play from quarterbacks, but it's really been my wide receivers that have really done the job all year. And honorable mention to Martellus Bennett, who is subbing in quite nicely for Rob Gronkowski. He's got touchdowns in consecutive weeks for the Giants. That's really helped. And again, just a couple goose eggs and some low scoring for the Kicking Academy. They again finished the season at 7-7 and miss out on the playoffs again. And the other game of note, I guess, with a playoff contention was the Calvinators making a statement, winning the MASH division with a 10-4 record, scoring the highest points. So newcomer Greg, who has been on the fence about doing fantasy for about 4 years, and has a little bit of, who knows if it's beginner's luck or maybe he's a natural, but the Calvinators are in the playoffs and have the number 2 seed. Obviously, great day from Cam Newton and Matt Ryan. His 2 quarterbacks have really been solid all year. Vincent Jackson's been great. I know that I have Mike Williams for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I always look at the stats, and I'm always jealous because Vincent Jackson gets most of the points. So just an all-around solid effort. Of course, buoyed by the 42 points from Cam Newton. And the Travelers having a real tough season at 4-10, just not getting the points done. Ray Rice has been disappointing. I know, obviously, the Ravens firing their offensive coordinator because everybody's saying how Ray Rice doesn't get the ball in the fourth quarter. So that's obviously not helped. Chris Johnson having a mediocre year, not helping either. And, of course, Jerry Maclin on the bench. So I guess the bench stud award of the week would go to the Travelers, but a little too late and wouldn't have helped anyway. So they finished the season disappointing 4-10, and the Calvinators 10-4. One other game to note, which was the Idaho Darth Taters doing their job to try and get in the playoffs, just didn't get the help from the Stallions that they needed. And of course, the Cartel finishing probably the worst fantasy football season I've ever seen, 0-14. Again, hasn't even been paying attention to his team the last several weeks, which I sort of understand. But again, there's no excuse. You still have to put your team in the whole year. So I'm going to have a stern talk with Gallo. He is a longtime player in the league. He is one of my best friends. So, just for various reasons, didn't keep up with his team. So I'm going to have a stern talking to Gallo to make sure that if he's in for next year, that he's prepared to see his team through the whole year. Idaho Darth Taters, on the other hand, the other new team, Ron and Jacob taking over for Drew, kept the same name, but and had much better success actually. 8-6, just missed out on the playoffs, and I think all the playoff teams are happy that the guy with Tom Brady is not in the playoffs, because obviously Tom Brady was awesome last night, and he's just, I mean, how does Tom Brady and Adrian Peterson not make the playoffs? I mean, unbelievable. But and look at all these points, 116 points on the bench. So Idaho Darth Taters had a very, very respectable season. Good first start, finished with a above 500 record, but not quite enough to make the playoffs. So take a quick look at let's look at the final standings. Let me get my screen going here. Okay, as I noted, we have You Got Beat by a Girl winning the Mish division at 12-2, and the 2 wild cards both coming from the Mish division, the Slim Aussies at 9-5, with a big point outburst this weekend. You Got Beat by a Girl does win the overall point title for the year at 2274, but Slim Aussies not far behind, only 15 points behind total points for the year. So, and of all the teams that scored over 2,000 points, only one of them didn't make the playoffs, the Idaho Dark Tater. So, no weird kind of unusual anomalies here. The teams that scored the most points throughout the year all made the playoffs, again, with the exception of the Dark Taters. Stallions, very respectable, 2,056 points, and to come in third place in the division, but get the other wild card, and of course the CT Calvinators winning their division. So you can see the teams that scored the most points definitely deserve to be there. And now we have the playoffs coming up. This is really exciting. So let's take a look at this. We have the rematch of last year's wild card game, which I don't know what the exact standings were, but basically the husband and wife team competitors, Matthew and Sarah, both playing each other once again to try and get to the Super Bowl. So the Stallions won last year, so we'll see if you got beat by a girl. The number 1 seed holds up to that. And if you look at the lines, this is pretty amazing. Both of these games are really evenly matched. And let's take a look. Let's make it bigger. Okay, so you have the Stallions getting 2 points, which in fantasy is nothing. So it's basically dead even. Both teams are expected to score in the 170s, and so we'll see how that plays out. And also want to hear if there's any interesting bets. Never really got to the bottom of last year what the losing team, Sarah, had to do for Matt for losing last year. But again, they're going to rematch to play to see who gets in the title game. And then last year's champ, the Slim Aussies, very respectable 9-5, second most points in the league, will take on the newcomer, the CT Calvinators. Again, look at this line, 2-point lines. All 4 teams are expected to score within 3 points of each other. So this is going to be exciting. Unfortunately, I will be traveling to Florida on Sunday. Obviously, it's fortunate that I'm going to Florida on vacation, but I'm going to probably miss most of the football on Sunday. I don't know what I'm going to do. But let's take a quick look. Obviously, lineups can change, but let's take a quick look at the key matchups here between the Calvinators and the Aussies. So it looks like as of now, no one is playing on Monday night, because I believe that's it's like a really, really bad game. Monday night, it's the Jets and somebody. So that's good. So it's going to be decided this Sunday for the Calvinators and the Aussies. The Aussies are going to get off to a quick start with Andy Dalton on Thursday, and everyone on their team is going to be done by the late afternoon games except for the Patriots defense. And then Aaron Hernandez is going to be the one player. Oh, and Frank Gore going Sunday night. So it'll probably come down to Sunday night to see who wins this game. And again, the lines are very, very close. Come on. And then the other game, let's preview this game. And of course, everyone's entitled to change their lineups as many times as they want between now and Sunday. But as of now, it looks like the Stallions are going to start Bryce Brown Thursday night and Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, so competing running backs Thursday night. Again, that's all subject to change. So Thursday night game is going to have a lot of players with You Got Beat by a Girl playing AJ Green. And then, again, no one playing Monday night. And I don't know, and I don't even see, it looks like the 49ers defense is and Wes Welk are going to be Sunday night. So the Stallions will be looking to get a big lead going into the Sunday night game. And again, so both games are going to be decided Sunday. There's not going to be, as of now, no Monday night players. So should be exciting. A couple of you still have not paid your dues. You know who you are. Please send me a check. I'm going to call you out right now. I think it's Greg, Sheree, and Gallo that owe me money. So obviously, Calvinators, you're not going to get your money if you don't pay into the pool. So you need to get that to me as soon as possible. And it's exciting. Of course, I'm pumped because I'm in the playoffs, but hopefully everybody had a great season, and good luck to all the playoff teams. And we'll see if we have our first repeat champion and our first 2-time winner in the Aussies, or if one of the other teams is going to break through for the first time. So we'll see Sunday, and I hope you enjoyed the video blog, and I'm going to get out now. Thanks.